sorry, I'm like panting because I'm like print my paper. Well, I want to start with one of the best memories that I have in my life. And it's probably y'all's too. The day I got baptized.
Yes.
The day I got baptized was in August 1998. And it was just a moment of, like, I could hear God's voice so clearly. You know, as a child, you're so innocent and you just hear everything you truly believe. And I had fallen in love with God, but didn't really know as a child how to keep the flame going. And as the years passed, I found myself, you know, our relationship and that love fading away. I found myself going to church forced, you know, rather than a joy. And it was becoming a chore. At this time also, my relationship with my mother was basically non-existent. We were raised in a very disciplined home, you know, where do as I say kind of deal or else. And which is not wrong. Discipline is very important. I love my mother for doing that and disciplining us. But it was hard because even as Adventists, we wouldn't really hear I love you in the home from our own mother. We wouldn't hear that from her. There was no affection. There was, it was just hard, you know, for a girl to want her mother's advice and her mother to lean on. And my dad was the complete opposite. He was very loving. He was very open about everything. But he was not Christian. And so my favorite thing to do would be, you know, I couldn't wait for the weekend. Like I hated the week. I couldn't wait for the weekend to see my dad. You know, to see my dad and go out to eat, just have a fun time, and like he was my friend. So I would look forward to talking to him and receiving advice. Even as a little child, he would give me advice about life, about how I should be a hard worker and all about education, all this kind of topics. And so as years passed, I get to the age of 17. And at this age, you know, since I was 15, I've been working. And by the age of 17, my mom thought it was time for me to be independent. So, you know, because I could work legally, so it was time for me to be a grown-up. So I did that. I was independent, and I felt pressured to move out. So here I was, a senior in high school, living without my parents. And with freedom of religion, now I had freedom to choose. And I knew God existed, even though my relationship with him wasn't very great. I knew he existed, and I knew he was real. So I kept going to church, but there was no intimate relationship. I was just warming up the pews, you know, I was just being driven by emotion. While I was there, yes, Lord, I will change, yes, I will do this for you. As soon as I got out, it was all about me again. So I thought I could get by just going to church on Saturday mornings, and that was my only time for him. My life was very just about me. And at this time, my dad gets deported to Mexico, and you know he's like the only support that I felt that I had. And my siblings, my little siblings who I loved to death, I couldn't really see them because My mom never would visit, so I wouldn't get to see him as well. So it was a time of, a lot of emotions, a lot of feeling alone. And by this time, I'm around, 21. I'm working full-time, I'm going to school full-time. I am waking up at 5 for work, going in at 6, getting out at 4:30, having class at 5, leaving school at 9, 9:30. So, I didn't have time for God. And I felt like, well, God understands. I don't have time. God understands. He's all about education. He's all about, having good work ethic. So, God understands. I wake up and sometimes I might say, thank you for waking me up, Lord, sometimes. But that was it. And so, but as tiring and as stressful as this schedule was, for some reason, I still had time and energy for my boyfriend. And for my boyfriend at the time, he was not Adventist. And I was blindly devoted to this man. I was giving him more of my time and more of my heart to him than I was to my own Creator. And I was just living my life feeling with no purpose, even though I had someone there, even though I had friends around me, even though, I felt alone and I felt with no purpose. So after a year of being so deep into this relationship, I knew that my commitment to this man had turned into idolatry. I knew I could not serve two lords at the same time. And it was a verbally abusive and selfish relationship, but I was stubborn, I would make excuses for this person, and it got to the point where I would just cover up, the Holy Spirit's voice and just, no, it's okay. It's okay, I would just make up excuses. And it just amazes me how our minds wander off, to the enemy's property, and we lie to ourselves, saying, well, it's harmless. But there was something that really hit me. Revelation 3:15 says, I know your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. I could wish you were cold or hot. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will vomit you out of my mouth. Because you say I'm rich and have wealthy and have need of nothing. I do not know that you are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. I counsel you to buy from me gold refined in the fire, that you may be rich in white garments, that you may be clothed, that the shame of your nakedness may not be revealed, and anoint your eyes with eye salve, that you may see. So this words really hit me hard because, I was stubborn, and even though these words sound harsh, that's what I needed to hear at the time. I decided to cry to the Lord for help because I knew I wasn't going to be able to, do this on my own. I knew it was time for me to make a choice. And by the grace of God, He slapped me into my senses. And I knew that either I give Him 100% or 0%. There's no 50%. So I thank the Lord for His mercy, because no matter how undeserving and how many times we fall, He's waiting for us with open arms. He's waiting for us to come back home. And I decided to trust in Him, even though I knew this new road was going to be hard for me. So I look back to how, as a child, it's so easy to believe in an invisible friend, And here I am almost a decade later, feeling that again, falling in love love now with the right man. And I truly was able to start feeling his presence again and his hand. And my fear of being alone and my fear of having no support was, gone. I was truly living Isaiah 41:10, which says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand." And it's just amazing how everything he says, he keeps, he keeps his promises, and he's always there holding us. So I thank the Lord for not for never giving up on me. He gave me the strength to get out of this hard relationship. And my relationship with my mother was now, I was finally able to let go of the pain and the hatred and that I had been carrying for years. I was able to ask my mom for forgiveness, and I was able to forgive her. And now, instead of talking to her for 2 minutes, I'm able to speak to her for 2 hours. And before, the Lord couldn't work in me because, these things are blocking your mind. And so now I'm able to have a friendship with her. I am now able to tell her that I love her, which for all my life I didn't do. Even on Mother's Day, it would be awkward. But now I truly understand, I can understand better what love is, And the Lord knew my heart. The Lord knew that what I really needed and desired the most, and that's exactly what He gave me. Even though my mom was in Louisiana, my dad's in Mexico, and I had no family, He provided a Christ-centered family for me in Houston. He provided me with Christian friends, I followed what the Lord told me to do, which was to leave some of these friends that I had, which I had been knowing since, elementary, kindergarten, first grade. So I was like, why? Why would you want me to go? They're my friends. But the Lord knows better, and I'm so glad that He provided me with Christian friends who I could rely on and trust. And so now, I was no longer feeling without a purpose. I had discovered, that the Lord has a purpose for everybody. And He allowed me to see my calling and my talents, which before I didn't think. I'm like, Lord, I don't have any talents. And so now with the Lord by my side, I finally feel fulfilled.
Amen. Thank you.
You got right there. If you leave your sermon right there with you.
Stop here, please.
Yes.